About to start.
What's going on, investors? Dustin from Investments, and today is April 13th, 2023. We are going to look at some recent price action where everything is looking like it's actually taken off, especially in the crypto world, which is fantastic, right? Bitcoin is running, Ethereum is running, and everything's kind of pushing local highs right now. So great time to be watching, great time to already be in trades, and some of these other coins are setting up for trades. So you definitely want to be paying attention to the market for the potential reversal right now. A lot of it has already progressed, so kind of cool to see. If you're new here, my name is Dust, and this is the channel Investments, where we're looking at some stock charts, some crypto charts, and we're going to try to make sense of it all. We're going to try to analyze these, see if we can see any patterns, and try to make some profits, get some tendies and some gains, right? That's what everyone wants. The reason we're doing this is because we're on the road to financial independence, and this is our path to get there. This is one of the vehicles that we're going to utilize. Obviously, there are other tools in my toolbox, but this is one that has worked out for me in the past, so I intend to keep going with it. And now that we got that going, if you find any value in this, don't forget to give that thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and all that jazz, and let's get going. Very, very kind of cool to see this kind of play out here, where we've been watching Bitcoin, who is always the main driver of cryptos, right? Always the main one you want to watch, because this is going to drive all the other altcoin markets and price action. So very important to watch. But you can see you're actually broken out right now. You're broken out of local levels, you're pushing recent highs, and you're still at the top of that top, right? So you are at 30,800 right now actively, which is fantastic to see. The past week or two prior to the screen breakout, we were trying to analyze this, and we were saying, well, we are staging, we're building higher highs or higher lows this whole time. We're staying above this nice parallel channel, we're riding the top line, but we were saying there was a potential that we could have dropped down before continuing to that $29,000 level. And that green line that we have there at $29,000, it was important just because of how many touches you had. When you chase these all-time highs, after your pullback, this is the spot where you were touching, right? So when you would pull back, this is where you would come to and consolidate and test it as a floor. And every time it either bounced from there or it played around in there for a while, just showing that there's support at that level, showing that that floor has some value to it. And right now we are currently above that level. So we were saying, yeah, we have a potential to break down to 25,000 before continuing up to that level, but there was no chance that we were not going to test that level. And when we did test that level, we actually broke to the upside and continued higher, which is exactly what you want to see. Now that we're above there, is there a possibility that we pull back to that $29,000 level? Absolutely. That very well could happen. Absolutely no reason why we couldn't pull back a little bit, do a little bit of a back test before continuing higher if that's our trajectory. However, we are broken out now, so there's not really much edge where you can tell. There's no discernible patterns that's showing up right now, right? Like you just got a line going up. So we need to watch and see over the next couple weeks, see how things play out, see what happens, see if anything starts to form up, and then that's going to paint the picture for us to kind of determine our next move. Obviously, being broken out right now is very good, very, very good, looking fantastic. And this is kind of like a fun little stream that we get to have where we're actually, you know, actively breaking out. Like we're seeing the price action happen live right now. But we're gonna look at some other cryptos, and then we're gonna switch to some stocks. I'm gonna go to Ethereum next, and then we're gonna go through a little bit of a gambit. If you have anything you would like me to look at, let me know in the chat below. I'd be happy to get that on my radar and just see what you guys are taking a look at as well, because otherwise you tend to look at very much the same charts over and over. So if you're looking at something that I'm not, definitely let me know, and let's take a look at it together. Would be happy to get my my eyes on something new. So we got a lot going on right here. This is a little bit of a messy chart. Don't get discouraged by it. I'll break down things for you really clearly. Important line here. I want to start off by going back in time to this yellow line at 14,005. And the reason we have this horizontal line here is because it correlates to the January 2018 high. So on that massive bull run from 2018, this is the all-time high that we saw, right? So a very important level, because that's the peak of the last bull run. And as you can see, after we had that massive run up and that pullback, this is kind of the price level where we were playing around, where you had like fallen back below it, but then came back above it, and then you're kind of playing up and down right around there, and then boom, on March 13th of this year, you actually tested it for the last time as support before continuing higher. That's what you tend to find, is that these important levels get tested either to the upside as resistance or to the downside as support, right? So it's either coming up and rejecting off there, so it's showing that it's resistance, or it's coming down and showing that it's support. So you got to think of it like a ceiling, right? You're either coming up and you can't break through the ceiling, or you're coming down and you can't break through the floor. And if you do, well, that floor gave out. And if you did on the upside, well, your new ceiling is going to be much higher, right? So very cool to see that 1405 level was respected and actually turned the whole thing around, right? Like your chart completely bounced off of there, and you can see that massive green candle that took you higher. Very nice to see. Then we had our green line at 1711. Reason we had that is just after this massive run in May of 2021, this is the level you pulled back to, right? And you tested this as support multiple times. Like this is the level you fell down to, tested it as your floor, bounced off there, tested it as your floor again, and it held for a good year, close to a year, before testing that back as support and then kind of falling through the floor, which happens over time, right? Like formations don't just play out continuously, they play out and then consolidate and then reconfigure and play out again, right? That's just the nature of the beast here. Anyways, Ethereum is actively broken out right now, and we are pushing local highs on this as well. We are at 2,115, which is higher than any of the local levels, higher than you've seen all year, higher than you've seen since I want to say May of 2022, so almost last year, which is fantastic. And what did we do here? We did a nice Fibonacci here from this conservative high, not from the all-time high, from this high to the all-time low. And we were saying that you could easily get a run to the 382, to the 50%, to the 618. You have already hit the 382, so you've already hit that first target. Second target would be the 50% level, which is correlating to 23,000, 1,600. And the third is at this red line. You have multiple layers stacked on top of each other, where you have the 618 correlating to a level where you've just seen a couple tests of support and resistance, right? Really cool to see Ethereum doing that. I need to slip my shoes back on here. Feeties are getting sore. Let's take a look at Litecoin. We'll start with these big chip ones before we continue on to some of the smaller little baby boys. Litecoin, I keep reiterating, there is a long-term uptrend that is forming on this coin. This is very, very bullish to me. What this is telling me is that every time it's pulled back to this level, people are respecting it, and that keeps getting higher and higher. So people are finding value at a higher and higher level, and they're accumulating this coin. On top of that, look what happens every time it touches this line as support. You get a massive run up, followed by a drawdown to test that line again, followed by a massive run. And this run from here to here is we did the calculation the other day. It was like 550% gain, which it looks like a small run, right? Compared to something like this where you're running to $400. I'd take a 550% gain any day, no problem. Anyways, after that, draw it back down. What did it do when it hit that green line at the bottom? You had a massive run up to, shoot, $400, let's call it. So every time it's pulled back to this green line, it's had a massive run. And what is it doing now? Well, you pulled back to this green line, did 2 touches of it, tested it as a double bottom before starting your run. And this run is in progress, right? Like, in my opinion, this is going to just continue to run here. It's going to take off at some point. You're going to be breaking these local highs any day now, where we're looking on a weekly chart. Let's switch to the daily so we can really see this. You want to get over your local high at $104. That's the important level you need to break right now. But we have a couple other ones in here. We have one at 93 where this is just a level that you need to be breaking because you have multiple touches here as either support or resistance. I don't have those all circled, but you could scroll left and you could see them all. And then your other level that you need to get above is 106, and the reason for that is there's correlation between multiple touches of support after all-time highs are tested, right? So after this massive run, this is the level it would pull back to. So these are the levels we need to get above before we continue to run higher. Honestly, we break that 106, I think we're on pace for 145 and beyond. This, to me, I don't know that all the cryptos in this run are going to push all-time highs. It might just be somewhat of a really flat rally, but in my opinion, Litecoin is going to be one that does. Okay. Any other cryptos you want me to take a look at, let me know in the chat, either on the live stream or on the video after, and I will gladly take a look at it the next time. Anyways, let's carry on. Looking like everything's pretty much green today for the main cryptos, right? There is a lot of them that are showing positive gains, which is nice. Uni I want to look at because I have an active trade on Uni right now. I don't have that on my watch list, so let's do Uni USD. Take a look at it then there. What is going on with this? Oh, I added it on top of there. Okay. Uni USD. Okay, there we go. So one thing I liked about this, and I haven't really broke this one down, no charting on there whatsoever really, but you are staging, you're building higher lows every single step of the way, and this is just starting its turnaround. So some of these other ones, like these big coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, have already begun their uptrend, right? Like this turnaround is already evident. There's a bunch of other ones that it's evident in as well, like ICX was running already, there's a couple other, but this is one that has yet to start, and it's looking really strong. Like you are building these higher lows every step of the way, and just starting to look really bullish, right? You've broken above this wedge, back tested your green support line, and you're continuing higher. Are you above the 200-day moving average? It looks like you are after the breakout from today. This is one of the better looking charts, and I really would consider like the fact that it's such a low risk entry. I mean, you're almost to all-time lows, you know, like the risk to reward is so great on this, something like this. Like, it's just such a low risk entry to enter something like this. It's fantastic. This is one of the better looking ones that I've found. EOS looked okay as well. However, you were so close. I mean, all right, you actually were. You were pushing all-time lows, which is something you don't want to really see. Like, I don't like to see the fact that this is broken down below the lowest low that we've ever experienced. Although it does seem like it is picking up and turning around at this point. Just shows me that this doesn't have as much strength as some of the other cryptos. However, for a turnaround, this is looking like a good trade. Again, your goal here is to buy low so you can sell high. In order to do that, you need to be looking at time frames like this where things are the lowest they've been to be placing your bets for the future. So you got to be saying to yourself, well, this is really low. Should I be buying? Should I be accumulating to sell when this runs? To even something like that looks like the median line, right? Like this looks like a spot where it pulls back to multiple times, where it's just, okay, there's a lot of price action that happens in that level. Well, what happens? You're talking about 100% gain, right? Seems like a pretty good low risk entry for that. And realistically, you could set your stop loss to parallel these two lows here. Like there's no reason not to take that trade, right? Like it just seems like such a good gamble at that point. And if you want to go a step further, like the technicals are telling you, well, you're above the 200-day moving average. You did a double bottom off the recent low, which is lower than the all-time low. It's just looking good, right? Let's switch to some that we're already watching on. If you have any more in the chat, I know I keep saying it, let me know which ones you are looking at. I would be happy to. ICX, like I said, some of these are already broken out. Some of these have already moved. Some of them have already showed that they are turning around already. ICX is one of them. Good thing is after that recent pump, you already pulled back to the 618, and I'll show you that in a second. But before I do that, I want to show you the potential you have. Like if you are running to all-time high levels, all-time high on ICX is $11.52. You could even chart it a little higher if you just zoom in out of the daily and go into like the weekly chart. You're at 31 cents right now. Could you imagine the percent gain that you would experience on something like that if you even caught it halfway, right? So what I'm saying is, again, you're beyond the turnaround point. So you're late to this party for accumulating. However, compared to all-time highs, you are very early, right? If this is going to start testing all-time highs, even if it's not, even if it gets relatively close, you're still sitting pretty. Now let's zoom in to 12-hour and we'll just start to show you all the indicators that are telling us positive things. So we had, again, like LTC, an upsloping green line showing that there is accumulation happening. Every time this hits a high or low, people are consuming this, they're buying it up, they're saying this is a value area, let me purchase at this level. You pulled back to this level, hit a double bottom off there and broke out above there. After doing that, you did a nice back test before springing off that and continuing higher. That spring, let's do a fib retrace on there, already pulled back to the 618. So in theory, that pulling back to that 618 level is telling you that you are already coiled back up. You're already ready to spring higher. You're ready to keep on rolling. If that is the course of action, right? There's nothing here that's plottable that's telling you like, oh, this pattern is set to break out. The only thing you have really is the continuation at this point, saying that this is going to continue to break out that you have pulled back to the 618 off the recent breakout, that you should be good to go. If someone were looking for a nice add-on position to ICX or an entry, albeit a late entry, later than you would ideally like, this would be the spot where you'd be looking, right? Pull back to that 618 off that breakout is very good, especially if it's going to continue higher. We're skipping T-Fuel because we're waiting for more price action to happen on there. Theta is one that I keep coming back to because I feel it in my bones that this one's going to do well. You are stair-stepping, building higher lows every single time, and you realistically, this is one of the better looking charts as well, above the 200-day moving average. You get a nice breakout above this high that was put in on April 4th. You're testing that $129, $130 or 130 cent, Jesus, $1.30 level. Sorry about that. That is your next test. You break above there, you are running. The next stop after that is 172. Following stop is 227. And beyond that, I don't even have it marked, but I would imagine it's something like $4. So very, very, very low risk entry as well on this. And this is one that's, you know, it's not fully turned around yet like some of the other ones. These are the ones you want to identify. These are the ones you want to be putting bets in early. These are the ones that are going to look like ICX in the next weeks to days, potentially, right? Of course, this isn't trading advice. This is just some guy talking on the internet. And what are you doing listening to me? Anyways, let's carry on. I don't really have any other cryptos I want to look at. Let's look at a couple more. XLM already broken out, much like ICX. Still relatively early regarding this breakout. Like, this turnaround has not fully manifested yet, but it is in the process of manifesting. Why do I have that yellow line at 6.6 cents? Well, it correlates to that 2017 bull run, right? And when that bull run happened, that was your peak, that was your resistance. Broke above there after that, right? After a nice consolidation drawdown for a full year, you had that massive bull run that took you higher, and then it was tested as support multiple times. Guess what? That level held again. In fact, it didn't even hit that level on this drawdown. So this drawdown was unable to get down to that level because people were accumulating it. They were saying, this is a bargain price, I'm going to purchase here. What that's telling me is there's people accumulating here, you're building higher lows, you're way above the 200-day moving average, and this is one of the charts where it's looking primed to run. Again, I am saying that I need to be, because I can't tell you what to do, but I'm telling myself what I need to do is I need to be deploying more capital into these I need to be deploying more capital into these markets because some of these are just looking so good. What the heck? And I have already made a lot of trades at these low levels, like ZRX I got on the breakout of this descending wedge right here. I think I got like the second back test of the higher lows here, something like that. Not looking as good, but I mean, you're still early on this chart comparatively. I need to clean some of these up too while I'm here. All right, we are going to look at Doge and then we're going to make a switch to stocks. So I appreciate you if you're watching, if you're tuning in. Let us carry on. Doge, again, up sloping trend, higher lows, stair stepping. You're looking like you're setting ready for the reversal to happen, right? You're above the 200-day moving average, respecting it as support now. That is what you want to see. You want to see you stay above that 200-day moving average and keep respecting it. It's a very positive signal. Okay. Let us go to stocks because there's some important ones that I need to show you. First off is Amazon. I got that a little scuffed, hey? This is one that I've been pointing out over the past couple weeks now. It's saying that this is the trade to take for myself, right? This is you got multiple indicators telling you that this is the one to enter. On top of it, Amazon is just a good freaking company to own. Like, you can't tell me you wouldn't be happy to have Amazon in your portfolio. Well, now it's making a case to say, well, it makes trading sense as well, right? You have two indicators that are really telling you, and then a third that you could potentially say. So first indicator you have is this broadening wedge where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches on the broadening wedge as you descend. The way this pattern works is a breakout to this upside, the top green line, is going to take you to the top of this pattern, which correlates to $170. Keep saying this, but that is a nice run, right? That is, you're looking at potentially a 67% run. On top of it, you have a potential inverted head and shoulders starting to appear, where you have your first shoulder, your head, and your other shoulder, right? The way you would measure that is from the neckline to the top of your head. You copy and paste that, put it on the breakout of the neckline, and that is your percent gain that you're looking for, and that's a 21.82% gain. Since then, you have actually broken out of this. You are playing in this level. You did a back test. I could zoom in on a higher time frame and show you exactly what's happening, but you're kind of falling into it, but then you're popping back out. This is pretty typical when it doesn't have the strength yet, but you have since broke out pretty significantly, and you want to get above this $104 level to show how much strength you get. Our real important level is this neckline at 101.52 cents ish. That's the one you need to be respecting. And in fact, when you just broke down below it, you immediately came back with today having a 5% ish gain, taking it right back above there. That is fantastic that is playing out as charted. This is the exact reason why you want to be here, monitoring these things at these low levels, right? Is so that you can identify these patterns while they're happening, get them early to buy low, to sell high, right? This is low comparatively to where it was, and it's showing it's got the potential to run higher. This is the spots where you want to be analyzing these charts. On top of this broadening wedge, on top of this inverted head and shoulders, Amazon's also stair-stepping higher, building your higher lows every single time. We don't have the 200-day moving average on? Oh yeah, we do. We are below that 200-day moving average, which is the only negative indicator I can see on this chart right now. Your momentum's starting to shift. Are we going positive yet? Really hard to tell, but you're damn near neutral. Would like to see a little bit of green volume take you up even higher. Would like to see you respect that red line we have at 101.50 and push that local high of 104. That's going to tell you that you're for sure, well, not for sure, but you're making that run happen, right? Like this is the trade that I'm just like excited about, right? Like this is one of the only stock trades that's getting me going, that I've been like watching over the past couple weeks, saying like, uh-oh, it's coming. And now you're right on the cusp of this. The problem is the stocks move so goddamn slow compared to cryptos, right? So like we've been watching this, I think since like this low in November or December of last year, and it's just like, dude, come on. Another one we've been watching is EOSE. This is too far gone, in my opinion, to make an actionable trade on. However, I do want to highlight it just because there's so much potential still. Like to get to that real low at $10, you're at $2.76 right now. Stair stepping higher, building the case. After this breakout is when we got in. You respected that $1.62 level, just looking fantastic, right? Let's see, I got a couple more I want to take a look at, but I would be glad to see if you have any that you want me to look at. What's up, Crypto Slow Joe? Appreciate you stopping in again. Fantastic to have you. Let me know what you're looking at. Give me one to put on the ticker, and I'd be glad to take a look at it. MOS is one that we were kicked out of the trade because we had entered this and just caught this massive run up, but did not sell our profits, right? We did not take our profits because we considered that we were going to keep running high. And since then, you got a pretty significant drawdown, showing that you're building lower highs, which is not the formations you want to be making, right? So far, you are respecting that $42.35 level, which is the exact level you need to be supporting, right? So it's looking okay, but it did kick us out of this trade. Breakout above this level at $55 would tell me to get back in potentially, but I'm not so keen on this one anymore like I was. Like the previous formation was looking fantastic to me. Now, not so much, but that's okay. That happens from time to time, right? The chart plays out and paints a different picture sometimes, and you got to analyze when you're seeing different things and when it's looking completely not what you pictured, or like a trend is reversing, or it's just important to keep an open mind while you look at these, because otherwise you'll have that narrow focus that can draw you down a rabbit hole, which could potentially lead you to lose on these trades. PAA, this is one that we re-entered, right? So I'm going to break this down for you, and I'm going to go back in time and just give you a nice big rundown on the grand scale of why we entered this trade, just for teaching you guys what I was seeing here. So I'm not big on Elliott wave, however, it is a very clear indicator of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All your waves up, followed by a nice ABC correction. Like, this is pretty textbook Elliott wave, and I don't even read that textbook, let's say that. After that drawdown to your C level, which is a pretty significant low comparatively, you started building this formation where you were just consolidating your price, and it started to crunch, where you were getting these higher lows, stair stepping every time, higher lows, started respecting the 200-day moving average as you got closer and closer. You had a minor upslope on your top of this triangle, right? Very minor. I would almost call it flat, where every time you hit this level, you were respecting it as resistance until January of this year, where you actually broke out to the upside. And that's where we entered the trade, thinking, okay, this is going to take us to we were saying 50% gain. And reason we were charting that was because the way you would chart this pattern is from the low to the high, the first run. You would copy that, paste it on the breakout, and that would be your price target, right? That would take you to around $19, give or take a few cents. However, you did not have the strength to continue that breakout, which happens sometimes, right? Like I just said, sometimes the chart will paint the picture and you need to just understand and digest what that picture is telling you. It was telling us it didn't have the strength yet, needed to pull back, fell back into that pattern, and we got kicked out. Our stop loss triggered. It said, hey, you're back in that pattern, get out of that trade right now. Saved us from any potential losses. And then we kept watching it, and we kept watching it, saying like, well, it's still within this pattern. Is it potentially going to break out again? And it has. So we have yet to enter this trade, I think. However, it is currently broken out of the pattern, and this would be the entry point for this, right? You'd have to enter it again if you got kicked out, which is okay to do. Sometimes the chart develops that way, where it needs to do two-ish tests to actually break out. Okay, what are we looking at? Is there anything else I wanted to look at? I don't want to show that one because I don't want people to enter. Oh, Intel and GE were my other two ones, and then I'll go into Nokia. GE, very, very nice pattern formation showed up. We were able to identify it, caught it, inverted head and shoulders, caught the neckline. Boom, we're running since the beginning of the year basically, and we have not stopped yet, and I don't think we're going to stop, right? Our price target is at about $130. Reason being is copied and pasted the neckline to the top of the head, pasted it on the breakout of the neckline. That should take us around there. However, we were saying that this might not be the actual reversal. This might be somewhat of a relief rally from these very, very important lows at $36.61. And we might respect this green down sloping trend. So we want to be sure to take our profits around $130, because we don't think that GE will continue much beyond this green line. If, however, it does break out above there, then we need to reanalyze what's going on. The thing with stocks is how slow they are. So the fact that it's going to get to this 57% gain at 130, it might do it next year. You know, it might do it in 2024 into early 2025, right? There's no reason why it couldn't take that long based on some the length of these formations, right? Our inverted head and shoulders, for instance. Oh shit, wrong indicator. Let's get date and price range. From our shoulder width, you're talking about almost 1,500 days of playing out from October 2018 to November 22nd or 22. Now, I will say these formations on the higher time frames are stronger, right? There is more strength in a formation that took this long to build out than if it were to show up on the 4-hour chart, right? Like the 4-hour inverted head and shoulders is absolute dog shit compared to something that's taken almost 2,000 days to form. So caught this one. Great, right? We're already ripping and rolling on this. We are looking at Nokia to potentially identify that same pattern. We have yet to see it form up. However, we are starting to see the shoulder, the head, the other shoulder, and identifying the neckline. This is our point where we want to be entering this trade, is this breakout of the neckline. Again, what are we looking at for date range? Shoulder to shoulder. You're looking at almost just over 2,000 days. So again, a very long, drawn out inverted head and shoulders forming up. If we see this get there, this is going to be another one like GE where it's just going to slow grind on the uptrend, and that's kind of what you want, right? Last one we're going to look at, unless there is more requests, which I don't see. That's okay. But if you do have any, let me know in the chat. We'd be happy to take a look at yours. Before signing off, is Intel. Reason we were looking and identifying this one in the first place is we were looking for some of that US investment in semiconductors, US based manufacturing, to start trickling into some of these plays like Intel, Nvidia, AMD and stuff. I think these are going to start playing out. I think I've started to see some senators shorting Taiwan Semiconductor company. I really think these are the important critical ones for the next bull run, is some of these tech stocks like this, right? All right, so let's start looking at the indicators that it's telling us. This important bold red line at $25.46. Why is it bold? Why is it there? Well, look how many times you touched this line as either support or resistance. Last time you touched it as support was July of 2015, before proceeding to make this nice run to the upside, right? First time you touched it was as resistance in August of 1997. Feels weird saying 1997, but that's how old this chart is. So very important critical level, and you can just see how many times it's played in this range. So to pull back to this level and respect it and do a nice double bottom formation here and bounce off there, showing nice strength. You've gotten above this $32.13 level, which also has multiple touches, also correlating to a fib retrace where it's your 236, and this is not from the all-time high lately, it's from a nice conservative high. The all-time high, we haven't yet hit 236, so this conservative high, whoa, we're above that 236. Could easily see a run to the 382, to the 50%, to the 618. Those are all great. Those are very common retraces. However, I think it's more likely that we're running to 4390. Why do I say that number? Because look how many times you touched it as support in this time frame from January 2018 to January of 2022. Just pulled back multiple times to touch that level. I think it is making a run to retest that level, and that's the level you're going to be seeing. That's it. I did my whole spiel. I appreciate you if you're watching. If you are getting value, leave a thumbs up, leave a sub. I would appreciate it. Leave a comment too. Let me know what you like, what I did good, what I didn't do good. I would appreciate anything, all of it. Till next time.